She hadn't peed for a month. Just as she tried to urinate, she was interrupted by her mother-in-law scolding. Anna had no choice but to pull up her pants and go out to prepare breakfast for her mother-in-law. After calming her mother-in-law down, she rushed upstairs to wake up the kids. But just as she pushed open the door to her son's room, she stepped on his vomit. Anna complained, but she cleaned up after him. She blamed her son for drinking all the time, but he didn't care about her. At that moment, she suddenly heard her daughter slamming the door, worried that her daughter was going to work without breakfast. Anna went downstairs without stopping to make dinner for her 30-year-old daughter. Just then, her husband, Jack, was getting ready to leave the house. Anna didn't even have time to put on her shoes, so she hurriedly set them up and put on her husband's coat. She told her husband that she was not feeling well and that she wanted to go to his hospital for a checkup. But Jack, as a doctor, not only didn't care about his wife's health, but also said lightly that she could go to a small clinic for minor problems, not to their hospital. At this moment, Jack could never imagine that he would regret this statement for the rest of his life. After her husband left, Anna started to do the housework. But the next moment, her mother-in-law suddenly grabbed her by the hair from behind and cursed because of her dementia. Anna didn't take it personally. Then Anna hummed a lullaby and put her to sleep. Then she rushed out to see the doctor. Anna went to her husband's hospital, but to see a colleague. When she finished the test, Jack's colleague looked at the results with disbelief. She had to make small talk with Anna and double-check that the results were correct. In the end, she told Anna that it was nothing serious, but suggested that she should have another CT scan. After the CT, Anna sat in the lobby of the hospital waiting for Jack to get off work. 3 hours later, she finally went home with her beloved husband. On the way home, Anna kept talking to Jack and offered to go out for pizza, but Jack didn't pay any attention to her the whole time. He just stayed cold and didn't say anything. Just as they arrived home, Jack received a call from a colleague asking him to come to the hospital immediately to inform him of an urgent matter. However, while he was out, his mother-in-law crapped herself in her pants. When Anna heard her mother-in-law's room, she rushed into the room. She didn't expect her mother-in-law to pull off the diaper and throw it at her daughter-in-law's head. Anna was devastated, but her mother-in-law was still blaming her. After giving her a bath, she yelled that she was hungry. Anna washed a lot of tomatoes and fed them to her, but the next thing she knew, she was sick again. She kept hitting Anna with the tomatoes. Anna picked them up and ate them, but she said they were disgusting. Then she continued to throw persimmons from the house to the living room. She didn't expect Jack to come home at that moment. The man who had never been angry with his mother could not help himself. He grabbed the basket from his mother's hand and asked her what she wanted. The mother was so frightened that she apologized, and Anna blamed her husband for being mad at an old man who wasn't in his right mind. Just then the daughter came home with her drunken son. Jack was so angry with his son that he slapped him without saying a word. Anna tries to drag her husband back to the house, but he pushes her to the ground. The kids are shocked and wonder why their father is like this. It turned out that Jack had just found out about Anna's cancer at the hospital. He stared at the results in disbelief. Jack was filled with remorse that he was a doctor and that when his wife told him she was not feeling well, he had told her to go to a small clinic for a checkup. Thinking back to his indifference to his wife, Jack could not help but cry on the bridge.